Welcome back to the Hive Doctor, your beekeeping mentor. Today, I'm going to be taking the guesswork out of absolutely nothing. No, today, I just wanted to give you a tour of each of my outyards, and we're going to look at all 4 of my apiary locations today, just to kind of give you an idea of where I'm at, what I'm doing, and let you see what's going on with the Hive Doctor. So, stick around. I thought we'd start today with my furthest away out yard, my apiary location that I've had for quite a few years now. It's in National Forest. I love it. It's probably one of my 2 favorite spots of all the ones that I have. This particular spot is so unique because everything that my bees work around here is wild cultivated. In other words, it's just forest. There's nothing under control. There's nothing sprayed. It's peaceful. On the other side of the bees, down the bank, there's a huge creek that flows into the Toccoa River, which is popular in the area for fly fishing and rafting and kayaking, things like that. This is my biggest yard. I've got 5 4-way stands, so I can hold 20 hives here. And of course, I've got a few holes to fill this year as I split my bees and grow. But at the moment, I've got room for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more hives in this yard. So it's only half full. And with an area like this with so much to offer, so many trees that bloom in this area like tulip poplar and sourwood, I'm not overpopulating the area here to create too much competition among my own bees and the native bees and other pollinators that are around here. Let me show you a little bit of my setup here and what I've got going on. So in the distance there, you can see the creek as it flows by, going downstream that way. My bees have plenty of water here. I've got my hive stands staggered so that I can have room to work between them without having to squeeze. And you can see the empty spots where I've got room for bees to put this spring. As of this video, I'm filming mid-winter. And of course, there's a hive stand that I recently brought because I've got so much room in this bear fence that I keep. And I charge this bear fence with my solar setup here. I just recently put my solar setups on these posts to keep them up out of the standing water. As you can tell, we've got plenty of. Had a lot of rain lately. I've got my battery sitting there. I'll probably come up with something later to kind of guard that more against the sun. And of course, I've got a Sterilite container in the back protecting my Energizer. Another unique thing about this particular location is that even in some of the poorest years of honey flow, they never fail to make a crop here. And it's usually decent to pretty good. I remember one year off of 14 hives, I made 85 gallons of honey, wildflower, and I'm anticipating another good year this year. This particular yard, it's just nice to come to and be by myself, in the silence, just listening to the water go by, the birds, and especially on a nice warm spring or summer day, I hear my bees coming and going like crazy. I love that sound. All right, it's time to head to the next yard. Here we go. Right here's a spot where I have to cross over between one of my apiaries, my furthest one that we just came from, and onto the rest of mine. I drive through a circuit, but I actually have to cross over the Appalachian Trail right here. That's what that hiking sign is for. So people park right here where I've got my truck. The trail goes up through that way, crosses the road, and doesn't go over there where that guy is, but actually goes over, and you see that strip up there. That's where it goes. I actually did part of the Appalachian Trail starting in Maine as a southbounder back in 2016, and I did the 100-mile wilderness. That was a challenge. Welcome to my next yard. In fact, I call it my Tycho yard. The guy who owns this land, his two sons, their names are Tyler and Cole, and he takes the first two letters from each of those and comes up with Tycho. And I like to name each of my yards something unique. It's something I learned from my mentor. He had yards like the Big Oak, or maybe the name of the road that apiary was located on. And I always liked that, so I like to carry on that idea into my own beekeeping operation. The last yard, by the way, the far away one, was the Smiley yard. That's the last name of the very kind and generous woman who lets me keep my bees there on her property. Let me go and show you what I've got going on in this yard. So this is quite a few acres. And the man usually uses this land just for hunting purposes. And the field here, he let me choose. Of course, everyone's let me choose the ideal spot for my bees. And so I've actually had you guys in this yard fairly recently with my 2024 goals video. If you haven't seen that, I'll link it here in a card up here in the corner. But this is another yard that I need to fill with bees. In fact, there's only 4 beehives. You can see each of them right here. I've got a bucket at the end there. That had some extra honey in it. I came and just opened it up so the bees could clean it out on these odd warm winter days. And so eventually when that's cleaned out, I'll take it home, clean it up, and get it ready for the harvest season. Let me go ahead and show you around. So here we've got the normal way I usually come in when I've got heavy duty work. But when I don't, I'm just checking on my bees. I come in up on the hill, there's a small road there, and I don't have to go through a gate. But all this space, it's wonderful. Right here I've got just recently set a post to put my solar setup on. I've got 3 hive stands currently in this yard, and I'm going to be taking this fence down soon so I can mow. And I'm going to shift the fence just enough so I can put another hive stand in here and fit the number of bees I like to keep in one location, which is 16. At the moment, my solar setup, I keep in these easy nukes, these 5-frame plastic nuke boxes. Everything stays dry in there. I've never had an issue, but the sun kills plastic, so eventually that's going to become brittle and everything inside is going to be exposed to the weather. In each of my yards, I like to try to maintain 1 to 2 swarm traps. I haven't caught anything in that one yet since putting it up last year, but it's just a matter of time. I'll get it about, 8-10 feet up off the ground. It's a double 5-frame nuke. I turned into a larger cavity with some bait frames in there, old brood comb. Swarms love that kind of stuff. And there's actually a little bit of activity coming and going from the hives today. There goes one girl. And on the drive here, I actually saw a maple tree already busting out in bloom, which is a little early, but I have seen it in late February happen before. And again, this is one of my quiet, peaceful, serene yards. I love to just come and spend time at, watch my bees. Okay, with that, we're gonna go ahead and head to the next spot. We've got 2 more to go, so stick with me. Here we are pulling up into my next yard. We've got a beautiful long-range view. This is a property where they hold weddings. It's a wedding venue. Gorgeous. Welcome to my 3rd location. This is a yard I acquired last year. All the hives here, which there are 3, 6, 11, they were all splits that I made last summer during the sourwood honey flow. This is yet another beautiful location, a lot of wooded area and pasture land, which is great for that wildflower and tree mix. Our area has a lot of nectar sources that come from trees, but we also rely on those summer wildflowers to get us through as well. This is yet another one of my yards. I've already upgraded my solar setup to a post that I've set in the ground. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you around a little bit closer. I'm kind of up in this little area all by myself. This is a very large tract of acreage here that people have let me use. There's a pond down there. There's another pond on the property located somewhere else, but this one was tucked back out of the way where the ATVs don't really get in the way of driving in front of my bees. So I'm just up against the tree line. They get morning sun and afternoon shade, which is ideal. One of the things I need to be doing here is I'm going to be moving this hive stand in a little bit more so I can square off my fence a little bit better and tuck my bees inside and look a little bit more orderly. And again, I'll be filling all the spots this spring with splits. And this yard is actually almost full, only needing 4 more hives. I have yet to go through a honey flow in this yard other than the tail end of last year's sourwood flow, so I'm looking forward to see what kind of harvest that I make from this yard this year. One of the things that I require as a beekeeper, having a number of out yards, is the ability to come and go as I need to. I only have one of my hosts that requests that I text before I come for their own privacy, and I totally get that. And so I honor that, and I always make sure I text before I come out. But it's a nice thing to be able to come and go as I need, because I don't always know if I'm going to be coming out to a yard or not. Sometimes I'll think of something last minute and I'll think, oh, I need to go do that now, or I forgot this thing and I'll need to just go without letting anyone know, just pop in and out. And I always make sure that that's a cool thing with the hosts in the areas where I keep bees anyways. So that's just a big plus. If you're looking for some out yards to foster that relationship, let them know what you need. And one of the big things about that is being able to pull up near and close to my bees with my truck. Because when it comes harvest time, I need my truck to be close because these boxes are going to be heavy, full with honey, and I don't want to walk too far to load them onto the truck so I can go back to my place and spin the honey out. And just as with the first 2 yards, this is another beautiful, quiet place to be. I just love the silence. Sometimes it's just nice to have a break from my own thoughts and not to hear anything. No phone, no TV, just the buzz of my bees. Which there isn't much of today because it's kind of cold. All right, let's head off to my final and last yard, my other favorite location. I can't wait to show you that one. And here we are at my 4th and last yard today. So welcome. This is my Delphi farm yard. It's owned by local spiritual university called Delphi. This is their farm, or at least it used to be. Hopefully maybe one day they'll have something more going on here, but we've got bees. Ha! So this is probably my most full yard. I have only just one hole here that needs filled. Ideally, you know, everything here that you see, which is 15 hives, 15 colonies. Hopefully the majority of them will have survived the winter. We're not quite out of the woods yet. Spring is coming though, but I'll be making a lot of splits from this yard and going to fill my other yards that you have already been to with me today. This is my yard closest to home, so I really enjoy it because I'm kind of up here in a small little valley. It's quiet, even though it's more of a residential area than compared to my other spots. It's still nice because it's my spot. It's close, it's quiet, and I have a lot of bees, and I love it. And again, I've got my solar setup going up over here. It's not quite finished yet. I've only got the post in the ground. I need to get a ground rod in place so I can finish hooking up the solar stuff. I have them in other Easy Nuke boxes on the ground here at my feet, just like you saw at the other yard. Let's go ahead and look around. So I'm basically standing at the top of this small little valley here. I've got my bees tucked up in here, away from everyone, so that they're less of an issue in case any of them ever get aggressive. And people see them at a distance, so they know this is a bee yard and they know to be cautious. Right down there are some old untended grapevines. Up here on the hill on the other side of all this dead kudzu, we've got some apple and pear trees. This is a taller fence than I usually run, but it was the only one available at the time and I needed a fence. This one's more for goats, less for bear, but it'll work. And I just realized I actually have 2 spots I need to fill over here. So I've got 14 hives in here and 2 holes to fill. That's not bad at all. So if you're considering beekeeping for a business and you need to grow in order to make more honey, I definitely would consider expanding, finding multiple yards. Of course, start off with your first one and then come up with another one at least 2 miles away from those other ones so that you're not creating too much competition. One of the reasons I like to make my rounds and look at each bee yard is to check the fence, make sure it's not grounding out, to see if an animal has run through it. I had a fence one time where a pig ran through it, a wild hog, got tangled up in it. The fence kept shocking him and he just tore my fence to shreds. And I needed to get another fence around my bees ASAP to keep them protected from bear. In fact, that was the first yard, the smiley yard I showed you. So it's good to do maintenance checks just to kind of check things out and make sure everything's up and up. I appreciate you guys joining me today. Let me know what you think about today's video in the comments below. Drop me one of these. And don't forget to tell your friends about the Hive Doctor. I'll see you in the next video.